Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Saskia Fraser from rawfreedom.co.uk and today I am interviewing the beautiful Corrina Gordon-Barnes, who is teacher of marketing, and what she does is brings self-employed communities together so that they feel supported and out there in the world doing this amazing work together. So hi Corrina.
Hey, it's great to speak with you.
So what I'd love for everybody to know, Corrina, is actually, what your work is and what you do, because you'll say it much better than I ever can.
Yeah, I was described by someone as the guardian angel of the self-employed. And I just love that, this idea that when you go self-employed, you don't have a boss, obviously, that's the point. You don't often have colleagues either. So wanting to make it easier to be self-employed, so very practically helping people to get clients and helping people to get paid to do what they love, so that you can actually keep doing it. You can actually stay self-employed, make a living that way, and not have to go back into employment. And then also just not to feel alone. So I think we say self-employment, it's not by your self-employment. It's not like you suddenly have to be isolated and kind of hide away because you've chosen to go out and do your own thing. Yes, you want that freedom to do your own thing your way, but you don't want to be alone. So the way that I teach marketing, I teach the how-to and the step-by-step, but I do that in communities. I do that with online courses, and I also run events in London as well, so people can learn with other people and feel supported by other self-employed people as well.
Yeah, wonderful. And I should just let everybody know that I know you through doing one of your wonderful courses, the Passion to Profit course. So, I love what you do. I've been to your meetups in London, and it's just the sense of being with like-minded, mostly women, but I know that you also appeal to men as well, who are in touch with their feminine sides, I think, those kind of men. It's just such a joy to be around people who just understand what you're doing and what you're about.
Yeah, and you don't have to explain it, There's a sort of thing where on my courses or in the events, if you say you're a raw food coach, or you say you're a tantra teacher, or you say you do improv comedy, or people aren't going to look at you and be like, what? That's not accountancy. I don't understand what that is. People are going to go, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm into raw food, or I'm into tantra, or whatever it is. It's going to, you feel like, these people understand me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you have appealed to women a lot in the past, and that you're moving over, that you want to include more men. So do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I realised that the gender thing was a red herring for me. So what I did when I first kind of started out, and I was looking at, who are my ideal clients? And I looked across the range of clients at the time, and they were pretty much all women. So I kind of went, okay, I help women. And that became one of the things I was known for, helping women go into business and do marketing. But then I realised that it wasn't that men didn't have exactly the same challenges, or exactly the same needs, or exactly the same things they wanted to learn and to have. So I realised that just to drop that whole gender thing, and it's for people who want to help and heal. So yes, traditionally in those kind of fields like yoga or coaching or healing work, often there is a predominance of women, but it doesn't in any way mean that men don't do that kind of work. And in fact, more increasingly, I'm looking at what maybe kind of businesses are men doing more. Maybe it's web development, or design, or personal training. They're all still helping and healing people. They're making the world better. So it absolutely all still falls under what I help with.
Yeah, fantastic, lovely. I know the men that I've met at your meetups are gorgeous human beings, and it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, really.
meeting lovely men like that.
Yeah, isn't it? And it's it's this thing. It's not like just a sisterhood. We're all in it together. It doesn't matter what gender we are. If we want to do good work, then we want people around us who are good people who can support us in that.
Yeah, and I've found it really interesting because recently I've had a lot more men get in touch with me as well, and my marketing is specifically aimed at women. It says, it's all about women, and they're saying, can I follow you? Is it okay to follow you? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. But this is the thing, when you get really niche, this is the irony, when you get really niche, you become a beacon. So other people who are not your ideal clients will still follow you. And exactly like you say, it's that kind of playing hard to get of like, oh, she helps these other people, but I wonder if she would take me on. And yeah, it's a nice feeling. I like that. I like that guys are running after you.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk raw food.
Yes.
I I love that when we first met, I didn't even realise you were vegan. I just knew that you were interested in raw food. And one of the things that I'm really curious about is actually to hear about your journey from, how you got into being vegan and then through into raw food.
Yeah, I've been vegan for 12 years now. And I was in Australia when it all happened. I went to a meditation course, and we were sitting there, and the lovely lady in her, sari, and was talking about the last thing, she said, I remember it so distinctly, she said the last thing that a fish, for some reason she used this example, the last thing a fish feels is pain and fear. And that therefore when you eat that fish, you're taking on some of that energy. And I just suddenly, something clicked in my brain. It was this feeling of like, wow, I'm actually taking on another living being's energy when I eat that flesh or the products of that animal. And something just in me, I don't know if it was because I was doing a meditation course or if it was just the time, I just couldn't go back. So I literally, from that moment, just went vegan overnight. I went from being a full meat eating, I remember the night before I'd probably made like a ham, kind of sausage, I don't know, noodle dish or something. The next day, that was it. I wasn't, not even cheese, not even anything at all that came from animals. It was literally an overnight thing. And so that stayed, I was vegan for like 9 years maybe, until I found the raw food path. And I started to get interested in, well, I'm vegan, but some of what I'm eating isn't necessarily going to be the healthiest. So I was eating a lot of sandwiches. So my typical day would be like a bowl of porridge in the morning, maybe a peanut butter sandwich at lunch, maybe with a bit of tomato or cucumber in it, and then maybe pasta and tomato sauce for dinner. It was really carby and it was really white. There's a lot of like white starchy food there, even if it was brown bread, but it was still very starchy and carbohydratey. And when I first started to look at raw food, I thought, wow, I'm really not eating much green. There's nothing green in my day at all at that point. And that's when I started to go on that journey of looking into more alive food to energize me.
Yeah, so what I love about that is that, you start by respecting other living animals on the planet, and then you actually realize that you need to respect yourself too, by feeding yourself with really good, vital, nutrient-dense food.
Yeah.
And I think it's very easy as a vegan to eat really unhealthily.
Yeah.
And that kind of that journey of getting to the point where you're actually respecting yourself as well is wonderful.
Yeah, because as a vegan you can eat chips, processed kind of pretend meat stuff, vegan ice cream with lots of sugar in it all day. So you could be a lot less healthy as a vegan than a meat eater if you didn't really think about that. I love that you've said that, like respecting yourself as a living being.
Yeah. So what can you tell us a bit about what your diet consists of now then?
Yes, I would always have something liquid in the morning. So it would either be now it's a smoothie because I don't have my juicer anymore. I had a juicer for the first 2 years of looking into raw, and for me, it was just too much work. It was too much. My best work time is the morning. So, I'd wake up, I'd have I want to get on with work, and I'd have to spend half an hour in the kitchen kind of making a juice, and then all the waste for me didn't work, that there was so much waste that I then had to think about making pulp crackers or, it's doable, but for me it wasn't the best way of spending my time. So now it would always be a smoothie of some kind, either a green smoothie. So one thing I do that is really cool is I get lots of spinach and I just blend it and I put it into an ice cube tray. So then I have like an ice cube of spinach that I would put in a smoothie every morning. And if I don't have fresh spinach that day, I can always have green something in my smoothie. If it's not that, then it would be spirulina or chlorella. And I'll probably put in something like maca or pea protein as well, because I'm doing some workouts at the moment, so I want to make sure that I've got the protein there, and then some kind of fruit and maybe nut milk. So I make my own. I've got a Vitamix. I make nut milk, almond milk, pumpkin milk, hazelnut milk is one of my favorites, Brazil milk. So that will be a really nice start to the day. And then lunch will be a big salad. So I pretty much am raw for the first 2 meals of the day. So lunch will be a big green salad with lettuce and cucumber, tomato, maybe artichoke, asparagus, avocado, nuts, seeds, beans, those kind of things. Beans wouldn't be raw. And then dinner, I might have a cooked meal. So that's kind of how I've done it now, is that I get a lot of that alive stuff in the morning and the middle of the day. And then in the evening I would have vegetables as well in the dinner, but it would generally be cooked.
Yeah, great. And I think, I mean, that way of eating raw is so doable. I mean, that's kind of how I eat most of the time as well, although I use probably about 3 to 4 nights of the week I will have a raw element in the evening meal as well, but I'll quite often put a bit of cooked with lunch,
Yeah.
maybe a bit of cooked quinoa or, something like that. And it makes it so easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And I learned this from you, actually. I came, one of the things I loved, I came to your workshop down in Bristol, the Raw Food for Winter. That was really awesome to see the kind of possibilities. And what I loved is that you really made it not all or nothing. It wasn't like, right, I'm going to do raw food, so that's it. I'm not going to... I think there was like a few days where I was trying to do 100% raw all the time, and it was just stressful. It didn't do it for me. So I now just think, right, I'm getting all this vital food into me, and I'm also making it easy, and I'm not kind of creating conflict with my partner where maybe, she would like to have a nice cooked stir fry and I'm having to go and do something separate. Just have it be nice and harmonious and make something that we can both eat happily.
Yeah, fantastic. And great tips there about the, blending the spinach and putting it in your ice cube trays. That's fantastic. Because, you haven't always got everything you need. And I quite often will just use spirulina or chlorella, but I'm taking your tip. That's great. I'm having it.
And what I'll do as well, because, it's easy to clean the Vitamix, super easy, but what I like to do it in a batch. So I will make like a big thing of almond milk and then I'll freeze some of it. So then it's coming, because maybe 2-3 days it will go off. So I've just got little jars of almond milk in the freezer, and I'll just take them out the night before if I know I want to have it in a smoothie the next day. I just try to make it really easy for myself. Maybe I'll squeeze a few lemons. So I've got a little jar of lemon juice in the fridge rather than each time I want lemon juice having to go and squeeze a new lemon. Just little tricks like that, because I'm all about having it be easy and not a chore.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is the key to being successful with eating high raw, is about being organised and having those little tips and ideas to making your food really quick and easy. I mean, raw food is really quick and easy, but anything you can do to speed it up is brilliant.
Yeah, definitely.
So what I'd love to hear about is how you set your business up before you started getting into raw food, didn't you?
Yeah, 2005 I went self-employed, a long time ago.
So what I'm curious to hear is if you noticed a difference in the way that you evolved your business once you started eating more raw.
I think generally that sense of having things being clearer and simpler. So one of the things I've definitely done in the last 2 years particularly is simplify things. And I think this could be connected. I used to have, my business model there was a lot of different things that I did, and there were complexities to them all. So I was doing a workshop like this, I was doing an e-course, I was doing this. It was all a bit bitty. And then at some point I just started to really streamline that and get it really clear and kind of, I guess, raw in that sense of like stripping back to what actually I most wanted to be doing and what was going to be the most profitable for me and what my community most wanted. So I think that decluttering, that stripping back, getting to the core and simplifying, I think, is kind of how I see eating raw food. It's that simplicity and that cleanness.
Yeah, because I'm absolutely convinced that being raw actually helps you to make better business decisions, kind of in line with who you are, because of that clarity. Really being on your path, physically, emotionally, in work, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
and I know what you've spoken about before in terms of raw food, kind of allowing your intuition to come out more as well. So those kind of niggles where, I don't know, maybe someone's asked me to do a workshop and I just get that kind of intuitive, it's not going to be a good match. And maybe hearing that intuition more because of the kind of cleanness, the clearness of mind and the cleanness of body allows me to hear that intuition.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that, when we were sort of prepping just before the interview, you were talking about was calm food versus busy, messy food.
Yeah, that's really my kind of trajectory at the moment. If I think about it, it's summer at the moment, it's hot, thank goodness, it's hot, it's summer. So the idea of kind of being in a kitchen with, a hot saucepan on the hob and chopping boards here and then washing it up and trying to have kind of scrub the saucepans. It all feels quite noisy. Kind of the sound of frying things, it all sounds quite noisy. Versus kind of a nice clean kitchen, maybe just one chopping board, a knife, maybe a Vitamix. It all just feels a bit calmer and cooler somehow, especially in these summer days.
Going back to what you were saying earlier, one of the things that I really loved was you talking about getting rid of your juicer, because I think, you know, finding what works for you is so important when it comes to getting your diet the way that you want to get it. And we have so many, I should be doing it like this.
Yeah.
You know, I should be juicing more, I should be doing more, you know, having more greens. I've got a friend who puts so many greens into her juice that she doesn't enjoy her juice.
Yes.
And for me, so much about, you know, actually finding a way to do raw that really suits you and your character and your lifestyle. So it sounds like you've really found that.
Yeah, it's just permission to, you know, there's no raw food police. I kind of realised this, that they weren't going to come after me and like, hang on, you haven't, you know, you cooked your dinner, what are you doing? But no, that's just going to create stress in me and kind of maybe a sense of panic, or which defeats the whole point. Because if the point is about feeling good and feeling free and feeling light, then part of that has to be going with, you know, and something, it makes a lot of things. So the juicer really didn't work. It made life harder, whereas some things just make life a lot easier. So, you know, on let's say a train journey, I often go on like to the train to London or teaching workshop somewhere. I'll have a little pot of carrot sticks. You know, super easy, doesn't take any time to do. Whereas maybe before I'd have had to make, you know, I'd have made a sandwich or I'd have maybe cooked something and then cooled it down. So those kind of things, it makes easier. So that's what I'm looking for. Where does it make life easier? And then doing that. Like taking a smoothie out of the fridge that I made the day before and put in a jar is easier than making a porridge. You know, it takes much less time actually than making porridge, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, what would you say are your favourite things about eating high raw in terms of how it makes you feel?
I do have an insane amount of energy. The energy thing changed, or had already changed for me going from being meat eating to being vegan. I definitely had a lot more energy, and I slept a lot better, and I felt more present as well. So I think with raw food, especially, one thing that I noticed is that it doesn't allow you the space to numb out. So I know that I will still sometimes, you know, I'll go for that bowl of cereal maybe in the afternoon. If I'm having an afternoon slump, and I'll go for that bowl of cereal because it will numb me. Or if I've had some, you know, bad news or something's happened that's been hard, I know that it will numb me, but I don't want to be numb. So by sticking with raw food, so for example, I had this day where I was teaching a workshop and they provided food, and because they knew I was vegan, they provided me with a big raw salad for lunch. And I ate that and I felt really alive, and I felt like I couldn't hide. I was challenged by something emotionally, and it was like I couldn't hide from that, so I had to process that emotion. And that was really healthy, that I didn't have the option of numbing. So for me, I do the work by Byron Katie. That's my process now. That is my way of getting challenging, uncomfortable, painful emotions, and I will do a worksheet, and I will actually process that emotion so that I can clear it rather than just numbing it and waiting for it to kind of hit me in the face, you know, a few hours or days later.
Brilliant. And I mean, I've never actually read or done the work by Byron Katie, but I've heard so much about it, and I'd love to. And I think, you know, you're inspiring me again. I'm going to go and read it. I've got it.
Yeah. It's so, do you know what I just love? Because it's, and I think it really fits with raw food, because it is that kind of just stripping back to the fundamental thing is it true? You know, whatever it is that you're feeling, is it true? The beliefs that we have. So for example, I mean, you could do it even on like the juicer, you know, as a raw food person, I should have a juicer. And you just say, is it true? Is this stressful thought that is just plaguing you, and every day you're going, oh, my kitchen's messy because of all the pulp everywhere. Is it true that you have to have that to be healthy? No, it's not. And then the thought actually drops you. You know, you don't have to drop the thought; it drops you, and you can see clearly. So there's a lot of alignment there in terms of clarity.
Yeah, it sounds brilliant in conjunction with raw. Fantastic.
Yeah. We're super powerhouses, you see.
Yeah.
And then we do the work, and we're just.
I know, isn't it just so exciting? Sometimes I feel like I have to kind of catch myself because I get so overexcited about things, and I'm kind of like, oh, I don't want to put anybody off by being overexcited, and I have to remind myself, no, it's just who you are.
Yeah, it's, do you know what, it's so lovely. I've made some new friends recently, and one thing that we all kind of commented about each other was that we were all just full on in it. We weren't holding back, we weren't censoring, we weren't numbing, we weren't kind of playing it safe. We were all just like, whoa, we love you, oh my gosh, you're amazing. And just that kind of unbridled enthusiasm, I think, is just what we need more of in the world.
Totally. I mean, it's life, isn't it? I mean, that's what, for me, that's what falling in love with life is all about, is about being able to just express that joy and happiness and our natural energy.
Yeah. Let it flow through.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're self-employed, you know, that's really key, because if you let that enthusiasm and that life flow through you, that's what people are seeing about you. So you'll be naturally attractive to your ideal clients because they'll want some of that. They'll want some of that. Was that whatever she's on, I want it. Whatever he's on, I want it.
Yeah, absolutely. What I love about, and you really inspired me and helped me with this, that the more authentic I am, the more honest I am through my work, the more people will be drawn to you. And it's so true with it, you know, all my overexcitement and, you know, being, and also kind of being really honest about my thought processes and where I am. You know, I'm still working on that, on being completely kind of open and out there and being myself, but it just so, the more you give yourself permission to be who you truly are, the more you invite the right people into your life.
Yeah. Because they're seeing the real you. They're not seeing this kind of in a box, fabricated, I'll just show you bits of me kind of you, because no one can really fall in love with those kind of constructed people. People fall in love with real people, whole people, and that's what I love about that. That's the work that you're doing, is having people be raw in all ways, in all senses of the word.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is what, for me, Raw Freedom, you know, the name of my business is all about. It's about, being raw. And I think it's something we have to learn. You know, we have to learn to be raw, to be imperfect, and still love ourselves, and just kind of have it all out there.
Yeah, I love it.
Brilliant, fantastic. All right, Corrina. Well, I'd love you to tell me and everybody who's watching this about your amazing Passion to Profit program, which is the program that I did with you. So over to you.
Well, it is as the name says. So you start with your passion, which I'm hoping, you know, the person watching is, you know what your passion is, but the missing piece is the profit. So the missing piece is how the hell do I actually get people to pay me for this? And how do I get people to pay me for this repeatedly, consistently, and enough that it actually makes it viable for you to be self-employed and not have to go into other work? So it's a 10-week course. This is different from when you took it. It's a 10-week course. It's all online. We have modules. We have Q&A calls. So basically you get all the how-to. You get to ask all your questions. We have a forum. We have a Facebook group. You get to meet the most amazing people from all around the world. We've had people in Canada and Holland and Switzerland, everywhere. And everybody wants everyone to succeed. So you get the module, you get the action steps to take, and then you get to get feedback from other people of like, right, this is kind of what I think I'm going to price this at. This is what I think the name of my service is. This is what I think my website's going to say. This is what I think I'm going to do on Facebook. And then you get to have my feedback. You get to have other people's feedback on how that sounds. You know, how maybe thinking as your ideal client, does that actually sound like it's going to work? And have you thought about this? And maybe what people do is introduce people. So let's say we've got a yoga teacher on there. Well, it might be that someone can introduce them to a GP surgery where that person then gets work doing classes at the GP surgery, or they introduce them to this raw food teacher who needs a yoga teacher for a retreat. You know, it's that kind of cross collaboration, cross fertilization that happens a lot. So we are starting again in September. So for now, the thing to do is to take a look at the link, take a look at the course, and get front of the queue. That just means leaving your name and email address so that you're first to hear when we open for enrollment. Because then you'll get the best price, you'll get payment installments, for example, which is often helpful for people, and you'll get the information as soon as it comes out so you can get started, kind of get a head start on the course.
Brilliant, fantastic. And we're going to put the link below the video so everybody can actually, you can see it, you can click on it and go and have a look at this amazing program. Well, I was just actually, as you were talking about it, I was just reflecting on the fact that I am still in touch with quite a lot of the people from my group, and that was 2 years ago, was it, that I was doing it?
Yeah.
You know, and I just think how lovely that you know, that program actually put us in touch with each other and kept us connected, and we're still supporting each other to this day. So yeah,
that's
wonderful.
it. The individual connections stay, and then we've now got this Facebook group that is for anyone who's ever taken Passion to Profit. So it's way back since 2010 when we started doing the course, right up to now and into the future. Anybody who takes the course can go onto that group. So you're going to meet people in every walk of life. Any question you've got, you know, if it's like, how do I get this widget to work on my website, or if it's, does anyone recommend an accountant? Whatever your question, you're becoming part of a community where people have answers for you. So that's really very cool.
Yeah, fantastic.
I'm say whether people are interested in the course or not is definitely to come over to the website and get the blog. So every week I put out a blog completely for free, from anything like how do you write a powerful sales email, to how do you set your prices, to how do you deal with it when someone says you're too expensive or they can't afford it. So if you come over and you just leave your name and email address at the top, you'll get those weekly blogs that are free.
Yeah, fantastic. And Corrina's website is youinspireme.co.uk. That's www.youinspireme.co.uk. And I love the name of your website. And again, we'll stick the link to the website below, and people can go over and have a look. So, Corrina, will you leave us with one sort of top tip around raw food?
It's the kind of input-output thing. It's the fact that I want a simpler life, which is one of the reasons I choose raw food. So go into it with simplicity. So find how to make it simple for you. Maybe not having a juicer if that's not for you, batching things, freezing things, putting things, you know, making it so that it actually fits your life in the most simple way possible so that you get that outcome of a beautiful, calm and simple life.
Gorgeous. I love it. Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us here today, and I look forward to being in touch with you very soon.
Pleasure. Go really well.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.